I tried to tell them this summer. I tried to tell them that when you roll into the SEC, it's different. And I can't make you understand it until your team has to run the gauntlet. I think they're starting to get it. But there was all that talk. There was all that talk here on my channel, across my pages, across the nation, about the number one team in the country with a bullet, the runaway choice as the best team in the land, and poor old Georgia. Poor old Georgia had to go on the road, shouldn't have even got on the plane. And all those dogs did was roll into Austin. All Dog Nation did was roll into Austin, put a serious hurting on their brown water supply, paint the town red and black, and leave those Longhorns horns down, black and blue. That's what happened. Georgia had 3 turnovers and still won by 2 touchdowns on the road against the runaway number one team in the land, and put everybody on notice that if they figure it out, you better be concerned. And I don't care who you are. Georgia played very, very far from their most complete and best game. But on the flip side of that, the defense that we all thought we might see is the one that showed up. The DNA traits that make this program what it is, what it has been, and what it will be were on full display Saturday night in Austin, Texas. Here's what Texas did. They bumped their gums. Their fans did. Their starting quarterback did all off season. And all those Longhorns did was show up in front of millions and millions of fans and take the biggest loss at home by an AP number one team since 1982. That's 42 years ago. I'm old enough to actually remember 1982. That's a long time. A fellow by the name of Niccolo Machiavelli once put pen to paper and said, if you're going to shoot the king, don't miss. Now, if that's a little too old school for you, back in the early 2000s, there was this show on TV called The Wire. A fellow on that show by the name of Omar put it in a little bit more culturally relevant terms with one of the greatest lines in television history. And Omar says, if you're going to come at the king, you best not miss. Now, you might be wondering why I'm referring to Georgia as the king in this scenario. Texas was the number one team in the land. That's what everybody said. Poor old Georgia. They decided to get on the plane anyway and head on out there. Take their shot against the mighty Longhorns. And they proved who actually runs this thing. They showed and reminded everybody across the country that if you were talking about the SEC, and specifically if you're talking about college football on a broader scale, it runs through Athens, Georgia. Now, I could have told you that before the game, and all I would have gotten was all that gum bumping from all those shorthorns. And then the games happen, and reality smacks you in the face. And then you come to understand that there's a lot more to this league than just showing up and telling everybody that you were going to run things. Now, Kirby wasn't going to have any of that. All that talk, all those words. Everybody's saying Texas is going to walk into the league. They're just going to take over, dominate everything in their first year. They've got more money. They've got more resources. They've got all the players. Got the best coaches. Entitlement. That's what it oozed. Entitlement. Kirby Smart says, no, that's not how it's going to go down. Let me show you the way. And that's what happened on Saturday night in Austin, Texas. I listened to somebody else this week. Like I said, I don't watch a lot of the Georgia Bulldog podcast, not out of disrespect or disinterest or anything like that, but I don't want to pollute anything that I might say by listening to them and maybe having their ideas bleed into my ideas. And I don't ever want to be thought of somebody who's going to take somebody else's idea, right? So I don't listen to a lot of the Georgia stuff when it comes to podcasts and people who kind of do this sort of thing. But I do listen to the national voices, and I heard on Sunday a national voice, R.J. Young, works with Fox. I heard him talk about Georgia in a way that I thought was very, very fitting. And he used the idea of a lion, the king of the jungle. And he talked about how that lion, he knows what he's all about. He just wants to hang out in the shade, stay out of the sun. Everybody knows he's the lion, right? You've got hyenas, you've got some elephants, you've got giraffes, you've got antelopes, all this stuff out there on the prairie, on the savannah, but everybody knows who the lion is. Apparently, Texas didn't get the message. And what RJ said was there comes a point when the lion has to decide that he's going to go do what lions do. The female lions, right? They're the huntresses. They're the ones who go out and get the food. That's what they do. They feed the pride. That's their role. And in the world of the lions, the male lions, they're the ones who lay down the law. They draw the line. They set the territory. Interlopers come into that space and they regulate. And to hear RJ talk about it, that's exactly what Georgia did on Saturday. Texas had ideas, somehow or another, that they were more than a Longhorn, that they might just be that lion. And then the real lion showed up and took what was his and reminded everybody in the process exactly what the lion looks like. Because in the SEC, as a whole, we've put college football on notice that it is different down here. You want to play against the baddest mofos in the game? Then you come down south. You play in this league. This is where it happens. You earn your bones right here. And then inside this league, there's only one team currently that can walk in like they own the place. And that's Kirby Smart's Georgia Bulldogs. And as much as it pains the Shorthorns to hear it, ain't nothing changed. Y'all are here and you weren't ready. You didn't understand. You did not have the perspective that I tried to give you back in the summer. Didn't want to listen. You're going to learn. You learned on Saturday. And now when I look down the rest of your schedule, I'm not so sure that you're done learning. That's a discussion for a different day.
Told him, how about them fucking dogs? That's what I told him.